today's video, we are going to be talking about everything that I wish that I knew before I had my babies. This has been something hot and heavy on my mind and something that I wish I would have shared sooner with you guys. So if you're interested in learning more, then stay tuned. But before we get into all of the awesome mom thoughts, thank you so much for being here, and I'm so glad that you are a part of my little motherhood and lifestyle community. If you are new here, welcome, and I hope you stay a while. Hit that subscribe button. Also, I do post all things motherhood and lifestyle, not only here, but on my socials, Instagram, TikTok, so I hope you go over there and stay connected with me too. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I have been thinking about this video for some time and have putting down my thoughts of what I wish I knew as a new time mom before I had my babies. Now, there are different things with each baby, and you can think that you know it all, and you think that you do all the research, and you think that you have everything good to go, but there's always going to be something that you wish that you would have known. I just want to put that out there. There's always going to be something. You're never going to know it all, and there's always going to be something that comes up. With each baby, something new came up for me, and that's going to be another video that I'm going to put out probably here in the near future of what I wish I knew before having my third baby, because that was definitely the most, I don't want to say traumatizing, but that was definitely the one that affected me the most. So let's hop right into my list. I have made a list here that I'm looking at. It's not in any type of order. These are just, it's about 15 things that I have thought about, and these are coming from me personally, my personal experiences. I am a mom of 3. If you are new here, just to give you some back insight to my motherhood journey, I have a 5-year-old, I have a 3-year-old, and I have a 1-year-old girl. So 2 girls and a boy, and I am sharing my thoughts and my experiences to hopefully help you out if you are a new mom, whether it's a new mom completely or you're trying to decide to have your third baby or your second baby or whatever it is. I hope this gives you some insight and helps you think about some of the things that sometimes we forget. Sometimes we forget to think about certain things, and it's nice to know those things before you have a baby. So I hope this video helps you out. So the first thing, like I said, these are not in any priority order. These are just my thoughts written on paper or actually in my phone that I think that I wish I would have known more about. So to start off with, one of the things I have on my list is postpartum. You know, I feel like when we're a new mom, we're pregnant, and we're in that new mom journey, I think we think a lot about the birth. We think a lot about, oh my gosh, I'm gonna give birth, and we research a lot of things about giving birth and things like that, but we forget about after birth, what happens after birth. And I really think a lot of new moms do, and honestly, I'm guilty of that, especially with my first baby. Now, I knew a lot more, of course, what to expect postpartum with my second and third, but with my first, I honestly didn't even research that. So that's something that you want to research if it's your first baby, because it's nice to know what to expect. Because in my experience, the postpartum is actually worse than the actual. I love the birthing experience. I mean, granted, I did have an epidural for my first 2, and I love the hospital experience. I love the birth experience. I love all that. But the postpartum, though, that first month or even 2 months is hard. Not just taking care of your baby, but taking care of yourself. You're just so physically and mentally all over the place, and nobody really prepares you for that. I know that there's tons of content out now, but maybe 5 years ago when I had my first baby, there wasn't, or I was a new mom, so I wasn't mentally like thinking about that. I didn't know about this motherhood YouTube world or all this motherhood blogger content, and maybe there's still people that don't know that we have access to all this great information from women that have been through it. So yeah, I would recommend just looking up as many postpartum videos as you can. I don't want this video to just be on postpartum. This is just one of the things I'm talking about. Maybe I'll make that into a separate video, but there's just so much more to know about postpartum and what you go through, and it actually can be different with each baby. You can have one baby where it's like, wow, that's all I have to go through, and then you end up having, like, from my experience, my third baby was my well, my second baby was my hardest to recover from, but my third baby affected me the most mentally afterwards. And I'm not going to get into detail about that in this video, but definitely postpartum, you want to research as much as possible, not just, you know, what to get for your baby and the birthing experience. Think about yourself as well. Next is breastfeeding. Definitely before my first baby, I did not research this enough. I did a little bit of research. I did go to like one of those classes where it prepares new moms, and it did talk about breastfeeding, and I had a sister-in-law that was really big into breastfeeding, and I knew some stuff, but nobody prepared me for how hard it would be. Okay, I'm just like, okay, you stick the nipple in their mouth and they start sucking. No, it's so much more than that. I struggled so much with breastfeeding, not just like doing it, but just mentally, the mom guilt. And I still struggle today with mom guilt of breastfeeding. I didn't have a great experience with breastfeeding. I only breastfed my kids for about maybe a total of 2 months of their first 2 months, because it was just, I didn't have enough milk, and I felt like I tried everything and I just didn't have enough milk, so that I switched to formula. Breastfeeding does not come naturally for everyone. Some people it may, but I know a majority of the women here, you could probably agree with me that it does not come naturally, and it's something that you have to work at. And I would say don't give up, work at it as much as you can. There's nothing wrong with formula. I formula fed my babies, nothing wrong with that. You can also do a mixture and do what works best for you, but I would say don't give up on breastfeeding. Try it out as much as possible and do as much research on it, because that is really the best for your baby. And then after you've tried everything, then of course do what's best for your baby. So definitely breastfeeding, I think especially new moms do not research that enough. And even with my third baby, I thought I knew everything. I even got a new breastfeeding pump and everything, and I had a whole different other struggle. But I think, like I said, if you are interested to find out more, definitely subscribe to my channel. I plan on covering a lot of these topics that after having 3 babies, I think that I really can hone in on and really give you guys the best advice, tips, and experience that I can after having 3 babies. And yeah, just stay tuned, because I got a lot of good content for you guys coming. And if I look very super professional in this video, it's because I just, I haven't changed from work, and I had a minute to, well, not a minute, I had some time to myself to film this video that I've been wanting to film for you for so long. So I still got my work outfit on for you guys, working mom life. So the next one is stay ahead of your babies. Stay ahead of your babies, stay ahead of your kids. If you're constantly staying 2-3 steps ahead of your baby, then you are going to be happy. Not only is your baby going to be happy, you are going to be happy. And that's probably one of the best advices that I can, you know, give you. Well, you can use this for all the different stages of your kid's life, is it's going to make you mentally better. So, you know, sometimes it sucks, but yeah, wake up early before your kid. If you know that they're going to want their juice and whatever right when they wake up, then make sure you have that ready. Pay attention to your baby's kids. Pay attention to your baby's cues. If they look like they're about to get tired, you know your baby. If you know your baby best. So if you know that they look tired, make sure you set them up for your nap. You don't want them to get overly tired. If you know that they're looking hungry, pay attention to their cues, because that's going to prevent you from having tantrum from fussy babies, and it's just going to make everything run smoothly. Especially if you have other kids, that's a whole nother story. It's one thing having one baby, but it's another thing having multiple kids, you know, a baby and toddlers that you're dealing with. So it's going to work in your favor to stay ahead of your kids and make your day and everything run smoothly. You have to, you know, fail. This kind of goes with fail to plan, plan to fail. If you gotta like plan ahead. I'm not saying everything has to be planned. I'm just saying stay ahead of your kids. Next is, this is probably a very common one, but I honestly, before my first kid, I didn't really know it was like that crucial. Burp your baby, baby gas. Most of the time, the reason why your baby's colicky or they're not sleeping or whatever it is, it's because they're not being burped properly. Sometimes they need to burp 2 or 3 times after they've had a bottle. You want to make sure that you burp them, and every baby's different. So, you know, how you burp them is going to be different. I know with my 3 kids, I might burp one by going like this. The other one I might burp going over my knee. Like whatever's going to get them to relieve the gas that's making them uncomfortable, make sure that you do it. You research that, and you do what your baby likes. You can also use like gripe water and different things like that. But I know half of my problem in my third baby, why she was so like, I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't know that they needed to be burped so often. Like, I knew that they needed to be burped, but not so often. So the next thing on my list is kind of deep, but it's easier said than done. But enjoy where you're at, and enjoy where you're at in the moment, and know that it will end and pass before you know it. Which I'm saying is be present. And I know it's easier said than done. Sometimes it's hard when you have a screaming baby, toddler's tantrum, and to not wish it away. But sometimes we just need to know that we're gonna miss all of it, and sometimes it's hard for me to not get emotional thinking about it, because there's times where I wish that I would have been more present, or I wish that I would have just, relished in the moment of what I was doing. And that's something that takes effort. That's why I'm saying that it's easier said than done, because especially when you're a working mom, you're doing this, you need to get clean. It doesn't matter if you have a clean house. It doesn't matter. Just forget about it all. As long as your house is decent and not like disgusting, it's a good living environment. Focus more on playing with your kids. Live in the moment. If you need to spend an hour rocking your kid, and that's kind of over the top, but you know what I mean. Just really enjoy those moments. Enjoy every little stage, because I know that the newborn stage can be difficult. The toddler stage is difficult, but each stage has their difficult moments, but you need to enjoy them. And I know it's hard. I know it was hard for myself, and I'm sure that this is something that I learned as I went with my kids, and I got better. And I'm better today at doing that than I was with my first baby. But even then, I think no matter what, mom guilt is a real thing, and it's okay to have mom guilt, and it's something that's natural. It's something that's gonna happen. No matter how much you feel that you've been present, you're still gonna feel like, oh, was I present enough? That's something that's normal. And know that is not weird, or that you're a bad mom. That's something that all moms have. Even if you're like the best possible mom ever, you're gonna feel that way. But sometimes when you don't take time to reflect, then you're not going to notice these things. So it's definitely, you want to make sure that you're taking that time, which brings me to my next one, is make sure you take time to reflect on how you are being as a mom. So that way it gives you opportunity to change what you want to change. And living slow. You can live slow and have a busy schedule. It's all about living intentionally, and that's a whole nother thing. And I'm still working on it to this day. Is I try to always reflect at the end of every day. If I didn't get to reflect, then I'll reflect the next day. But most days I try to reflect. Okay, how did this day go? How was it? What do I want to change? And I do brain dumps in my planner. I'm a planner geek. Whatever works for you. You just want to make sure you take time to reflect. And this is something that I didn't really do as a new time mom. As a new mom, I didn't know that being a mom was going to entail so much, and it was going to be such a mental load. But it really is. So these are things, and nobody really prepares you, and you can't be prepared enough for motherhood. Motherhood is something that you learn as you go. But this video is just to offer some tips and advice of things that I wish that I would have thought about more as a new time mom. So the next thing is have a consistent routine. Stay consistent. A lot of this stuff I'm not saying that you have to research all of these things before you have your baby or whatever. These are just things to help you think more about, that some new moms may not even think about. So if you're watching this video, if you haven't had your baby yet, or if you already had your baby, or you're on your second kid, or whatever area of your motherhood journey that you're in, I know that there's probably going to be one of these things that you haven't really thought about, or you haven't given much thought to. So that's why these are things that I wish that I knew more about as before I had my babies. So having a consistent routine, you know, as a new time mom, it's very important to have a consistent routine, and to think about what routine works good for you, which is going to look different for everyone, but that's going to help you learn your baby's cues and kind of like just have your day run smoothly. Because yes, we are moms, we have to cater to our kids, but we also have to make sure that we take care of ourselves, self-care. We have to work, we have to clean, there's other things that you have to get done. And just because you're a mother doesn't mean that you have to be with your kid 24/7, that you have to just, you know, everything. You want to design your day around you and your kid. Yes, your kid comes first, but that's why you have to stay on a consistent routine so you know when to fit what where. And that's something, you know, that watching other motherhood and lifestyle channels have inspired me when I watch routine videos. What works good for them? What can I put in my life that may help me out? That's why I think the motherhood journey is such an inspiring story for everyone, and we all kind of get that inspiration from each other. So the next one is, know that like I said, if you're on your second baby, your third baby, know that every baby is different. I know this hit home with me. My third baby experience was different than my last two when it came to sleeping. So you may have to change things for one baby, for what you did for one baby, for another baby. So yeah, so what you do for one baby may have to change a little bit for another. For example, my third baby didn't sleep through the night until she was pretty much 12 months old, versus my last two slept through the night at 4 weeks. So there's just certain things like that. One baby may like to have been held more than the other. Each baby is going to be their own little person, and you're going to have to cater to them. So just know, if you kind of have that in your head already, it's going to set yourself up for success. I think a lot of it is just mental and us knowing something. I feel like when we are not prepared for it, just knowing that it could be a thing makes it worse in the moment than knowing, okay, oh, they told me that this, you know, this may happen type of thing. So another thing is more of an advice thing than like, you know, it's more of an advice thing. Just know that motherhood is raw, it's real, it's not all cupcakes and butterflies. And I feel like a lot of new moms, they just think it's gonna be like, oh, this little baby, let me just walk them in their stroller. You know, I'm gonna be all dressed up and looking cute with my baby. It's gonna be all cupcakes. I just feel like they think that. And honestly, social media is to blame for a lot of that, because some people, especially new moms, are naive in their motherhood journey, and they think that it's gonna be one way, and they don't think about all the craziness and chaos that motherhood is. It's raw. It's sitting in your pajamas at 3 o'clock in the afternoon with a boo-bow and your toddler on your hip, or whatever it may be, whatever it may look like for you. And it's beautiful, it's raw, it's real. And I feel like a lot of new moms don't think about that, and they get hot and heavy into, you know, they don't think about that, and then their baby's 3-4 months old, and it just sets them up for the wrong mentality. You know, if you already know that going into motherhood, then you know, you can deal with it a little bit better, you know what I mean, and with your postpartum journey and everything like that. And it's all about perspective. It's all about perspective and how you look at things. So just know that there's going to be messy times, it's going to get chaotic, you know, that's just part of motherhood. And if you know that, then you'll react to those times a little bit different, and one day you'll even miss the messiness and the chaoticness. So the next thing that I have on my list is to make time for your partner, to make time for your husband, because it's easy to forget in the mix of everything, that to forget your relationship with your partner, your spouse. It's really, really, really easy, and I went through it. You know, it's really easy to get mixed up in your busy lifestyle, and everything is about the baby. You just want to make sure that you make time for them, which, you know, could be anything from a movie night with them after when the kids go to bed, or date nights, things like that. Just any little thing. Make sure, even little moments throughout the day, give them a hug, make sure you kiss them, say I love you, like any little thing. It doesn't have to be something you know, big. It doesn't have to be like a date night every night, and you know, we don't all have time for that as far as somebody watching our kids, but just make sure you have alone time and you're making sure that they still feel special in your life and that you are nurturing your relationship, because that's going to be key to long-term thriving of your relationship, the more kids that you have. I think that that's something that we definitely, me and my husband, just from my personal experience, definitely have struggled with having our third baby, and having 2 toddlers. But you know, that's something that we work at every day, and it's definitely going to take work. So the next thing is, don't do anything while your baby is sleeping that you could do while they are awake. So that's something I really wish that I would have known before having kids, that I would have implemented into, you know, my life. I do it now, but like with my first 2, honestly, I didn't really do that. And another thing, they say sleep while your baby sleeps. Yes, but also you still got to get things done. But if there's something that you can get done when your baby's up, then do it. A lot of my cleaning I do when my baby is awake, and I set them up, get them an area to play. And of course, yes, you are going to have to stop and there's going to be interruptions sometimes, but guess what, you can still, it might take a little bit longer to get something done, but you can still get it done. The things that you should be doing when your kid is asleep is self-care things, quiet time, reading a book, things that this is when self-care comes into play. You have to make sure at least one of the naps of your little one, or you set aside some type of time for self-care. Or, you know, the only cleaning that I usually do when my kid is sleeping is maybe cleaning the bathroom, something where I'm going to have gloves on and chemicals, and I can't be stopping, you know, all the time and picking them up or whatever because I have gloves on. So you want to just be really frugal with your time, and you want to make sense of it and do what works for you. But I mean, you just want to make sure that you utilize those nap times and you're not doing things that don't make sense. So it's really all about time management and utilizing the time the best. Next thing is, don't compare yourself to other moms or what you be seeing on social media. As a new time mom, I did this so much, and I would just be like, oh my gosh, how can this mom have such a clean house all the time? How can this mom look so pretty? How does this mom bounce back right after having kids? Like, how does this mom look like she's so put together? Like, the questions are endless, and I used to constantly compare myself to other moms, and then that's when the mom guilt came in, and like, oh, you know, maybe I'm just not cut out to be a mom. I just feel like I'm always a mess. You know what? Those moms probably feel the same way. Social media is only a part of somebody's life. Yes, you can be an organized mom and everything, but it doesn't matter how organized you are, how put together that person looks. You don't see what happens behind the scenes. You don't see how much time and energy it takes to be like that. Yes, one mom can be a better organizer or planner than the other, and it does take time to kind of get your flow. That doesn't make them perfect. You may think that they look perfect, but they're only showing you one clip of their life. So I don't want to compare you to another mom. Your schedule may be completely different than theirs. Maybe she's a stay-at-home mom, you're a working mom. You have to do what is best for you, and your visualization of a mom is going to be different than somebody else's, because we all have a different journey. We all have a different motherhood journey, so we can't compare each other to each other. One mom may be really good at planning, the other one may be really good at organizing or cleaning or whatever. We all have our strengths, but that doesn't make anyone better than the other one. It doesn't mean that you should feel bad about yourself as a mother. And I always was hard on myself, and it took me a little while, you know, and still to this day, sometimes I find myself doing that. I have to be like, Jayde, come on, really? It just all depends on everything. Sometimes we don't think about that in the moment when we're thinking about it, but what kind of schedule, how much help does that mom have? What does her schedule look like? There's different things that play a part into everyone's motherhood situation and their journey and everything. So we just gotta make sure that we keep that in our brain and we constantly remind ourselves of that. So I have a few more left. Thank you so much for continuing to watch this video. If you made it this far, Thank you so much. And if you aren't already subscribed, come on now, what you doing? I hope that you stick around and stay a while if you have made it this far. So that leads me to my next one, bonding with the baby. So everybody thinks that bonding with the baby is going to be super easy. It's just going to be something that comes natural, and it doesn't come natural for everyone. It's not something that I particularly had an issue with, but there are going to be days where sometimes you don't feel close with your baby, or you just feel like, you know, and that's a lot of it is postpartum hormones too. But sometimes it takes work. It takes effort. So yes, you're going to love your babies. Just because you don't feel like a bond with your baby does not mean that you don't love them, does not mean that you're a bad mom. If it doesn't come right away, sometimes, especially as a first-time mom, you have this baby, this cute little baby in your hand, but sometimes you may not feel the connect right away, and that is okay. Some people as a new-time mom think that there's something wrong or whatever. There's not. With my first baby, because I didn't really know what I was doing with the motherhood, with breastfeeding, I kind of felt like a disconnect, because I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Why can't why, like, does she not like me? Like, what, like, is that there's something going on? Like, so I used to blame it on maybe I don't have a connection with my baby, but that's not the case. Now, bonding takes it takes effort, and there may be some days where you feel closer to your baby than others. It's going to be a constant, just like a relationship, it's going to be a constant up and down. To this day, I have days where I love my kids to death, but sometimes I feel out of the loop with my 5-year-old or my 3-year-old, and I just feel like maybe I need to spend a little bit more time one-on-one with them, and I need to connect at a different level with them. So that's going to be an ongoing thing, but know that it's completely normal. So it's something that a lot of new moms do not think about at all. And like I said, some of these things you're not going to think about in the moment or as a new mom. That's why I put this video out there, because if you are a new mom, you're going to be one step ahead of the game, because a lot of new moms don't think about this stuff. I definitely didn't, and that's why I'm here to share the information with you. So last two things, I think I kind of already mentioned this and touched on it a little bit, was mom guilt is okay. All right, it's okay to have emotions and the feelings that you are having, and a lot of people may make you feel like it's not, but that's postpartum. Everybody's postpartum journey is different, and there's going to be some people who are like, what the heck, do they not even go through a postpartum journey? Like, do they never have mom guilt? Like, whatever. But you also can't assume things, but everyone has mom guilt, and no matter how good you think you do things, it's still going to be a thought. Did I do this? Did I do that? It's just, again, back to perspective and how you think about and reflect about those emotions, and how you let it ultimately affect you is what is different. Those thoughts are not wrong. Having mom guilt is not something that's bad. It's something that, you just think about and you reflect on, and you choose how you move forward, and you choose how you react to it. And maybe you need to be like, hey, I'm being too hard on myself, or okay, maybe I need to do a little bit better about this. But the feeling is completely normal, and all your postpartum feelings are completely normal, and the people around you should be, your spouse should be, aware of those, and maybe that's something that you guys should talk about together. It's better to talk about things than to hold them in and never talk about them. So that's definitely a good thing to talk about with your husband as well. Last thing is, you don't need every little baby product out there. You don't need it. There's actually very few baby products that you need. I am all for the minimalistic view on things. I don't count myself as a true minimalistic, but I would like to be, but it definitely takes a lot of effort, because it's very tempting to buy this, buy that, but actually just, all I'm asking is, before you make a purchase, really ask yourself, do I need this? Could I get away without having it? Is it really going to make a difference in my baby's life? Now, there are things, and I do have a video of some of my favorite baby products, of what you need if you want to watch that. But there are a lot of baby items that you don't need, and there's a lot of baby items I regret buying. But that's a good question to ask you. Ask yourself, do you need this before you buy it? Okay guys, that wraps up my complete list of tips and advice and thoughts of things that I wish that I knew before ultimately having my babies. And like I said, if you are on your second or third, some of these things are going to come up at different stages in your motherhood journey. But I hope this helped you in kind of just made you think about some things that maybe you didn't think about, and I hope that it was able to help you in some way. Again, thank you so much for being here. If you want to check out some of my other content, please look at my description, and also subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on your bell notifications because I do post every week, most of the time on Fridays. I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.